The U.S. Congress has certified Joe Biden as the winner of November's presidential election after a day of chaos and violence in Washington. The session was forced into emergency recess when a violent mob of President Trump supporters forced their way into the Capitol building to try and stop lawmakers from certifying the vote. Congress reconvened later for proceedings that went late into the night and saw several Republican lawmakers abandoning their planned objections to the election results. The unprecedented scenes unfolded after Trump had urged his supporters to rally at the Capitol as lawmakers debated the results. After Biden's victory was certified, Trump released the following statement. He said, "Even though I totally disagree with the outcome of the election and the facts bear me out, nevertheless, there will be an orderly transition on January 20th. He then added, "I have always said we would continue our fight to ensure that only legal votes were counted. While this represents the end of the greatest first term in presidential history, it is only the beginning of our fight to make America great again." Let's go to Washington for the latest. DW's Oliver Salet is standing by for us there. Hi, Oliver. If we look at where things stand right now, certification has been completed in Congress. We have seen this statement, at least on paper, from President Trump saying that there will be an orderly transition. Does that mean that this is now over?
Certainly not, Sumi. Those are the kind of mixed messages we've been getting from President Trump throughout his presidency. And you read it out yourself. He, in his speech, in contrast to what he said in his written statement, said, this is not the end, this is just the beginning. And he also, let's be very clear, did not distance himself from the protest that cost 4 lives at this point, by the way. And he said, "We love you, you are special people." So that simply shows that Donald Trump is determined to go on. He will certainly not let go as easily. In the next 2 weeks will be crucial for American democracy, of course. After all, Trumpism is not going to disappear so quickly, and there is a big danger for Joe Biden and his presidency that there will be some kind of right-wing terrorism resulting out of that will overshadow his presidency.
Oliver, a lot of questions being asked today about whether President Trump will face consequences for what happened. What's your take on this?
Well, there are some Republicans who are already breaking loose. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Vice President Mike Pence, also one of his closest allies, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, openly criticized him in that late-night session in Senate yesterday. And there are some reports that preliminary talks are underway of several cabinet members, and they're discussing invoking the 25th Amendment of the Constitution. That is an amendment that allows to remove the president from office. Now, a majority of cabinet would then have to declare the inability of Donald Trump to discharge his duties, and should that happen, Vice President Mike Pence would become president for the remainder of the time, because no matter what happens, and if that happens in the end, on January 20th is the inauguration, and that means that Joe Biden from that day will be the new president of the United States.
Oliver, how concerned are people there in Washington about the state of American democracy right now, whether institutions here really have been damaged?
Yeah, it is certainly a dark day in American history, and as you said, the damage to the institutions is enormous. Also, if you consider the misuse of power that the president did there by inciting his supporters, there's certainly a big damage also done to the office of the president, the reputation of American democracy. Consider that the U.S. has always been trying to export democracy, leading by example. So all of that credibility is certainly lost, and that will cast a big shadow over the Joe Biden presidency. Will be a big challenge also for him in the coming 4 years, and a damage that will be certainly felt throughout the next years.
And Oliver, just quickly, are there concerns that we could see more violence, more unrest in the days to come?
Absolutely, and it's also important to point out that this is not the first time that protesters storm a Capitol. Similar scenes we've seen earlier this year in Michigan, when protesters stormed the state's state house there, protesting the governor's COVID lockdown there. We also filmed with armed militias here at DW this summer. They were training and were pretty open about the fact that they were ready to take to the guns, and a serious threat, certainly for American democracy in the weeks to come.
DW's Oliver Salet reporting for us from Washington. Good to talk to you.